under saddle, she has had a past of, not a bad past, just a past of being ridden with a lot of contact, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is an English style way of riding. I like to ride with a nice loose rein and then ask for something when I need it. Now, I don't ride English and I don't show and I don't jump, so I don't need that. So for my trail riding and my pleasure riding, I like a nice loose rein, and then when I need something, I might ask with the rein or my legs. She's used to having a lot of contact, so with a loose rein, she tends to want to trot off under saddle and or toss her nose, or she's going to put her nose to the ground and see how far she has before she feels pressure. She's like, oh look, I have all this room to dive, right? So what she needs to understand is pressure doesn't equal babysitting, I guess is the way I want to put it for her. If I add pressure to the bridle, I want her to soften. So by soften, that's thinking of vertical or lateral and vertical flexion downward. So her nose goes from here where it's at to here. And in this case today with the bridle work, we're working on circles. So we're working on from here to here. So we're kind of coming in. Let's say if it's on this side, we're coming in and down. Because what I want her to think is when she feels pressure, she says, what can I do for you? Respectfully, and not, no, I don't want to do this, toss my head or throw it to the ground or fight with me. I'm teaching her, we're not going to fight. We're going to work through this until you feel confident and comfortable and relaxed. So pressure equals drop your nose and then you get a big release. When bridling a horse, there's a lot that goes into it, but first with the halter, I like to teach a head down cue and a head down cue with my hand here. So if I add pressure, she can go down. So she's not a very tall horse, but if she was, she can become a giraffe. I want to be able to control that. And I see so many people up here trying to put their bridle on, and it just looks painful. And their horse is fighting and things are flying all over creation. So she doesn't do that, but I do want to show how I bridle. I'm going to take my hand here. I'm going to pass the bridle to this hand. See how I pull her head over with that?
Yeah.
And see how I gave her a release with that pressure. So this is a release, right? Pressure, release. That's saying good job, stay there. And I'm going to take it away to reward her since she does tend to want to pull away a little bit. So her head can be just like that. Once she's really good at this, like my horses, I mean, we've practiced this a lot, they will come to me without me having to ask them. And so that's kind of the goal to keep in mind. I like to plant goals so that you know what to think about. So you can use this to start if you want. You can already notice like she starts tossing her head when the bit comes because she's she doesn't get a lot of release of pressure with the bit. Or just in her mind in the past, there's not a lot of release. So we want to remind her this isn't a bad thing. This is just how it's going to be, and you're going to learn that your release of pressure comes when you're relaxed. Okay, so one more time I'll show you. Hand over. This controls head elevation. See how if I press down, she lowers. This controls head over. Right? So then once her head's here, then you feed the bit and you pull up with your right hand. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to do that. Now use that exactly to pull her head over, just like you would with the halter. And now once her head's over and low, yep. And you may have to stick your thumb in the corner of her mouth. Just be patient. There, good job. So this is what we didn't have last time with something to help drive. She tends to be a little lazy, so we used your halter and lead rope. And that just wasn't really enough to stay consistent. What I like about the little dressage whips is it's easier to hold than a whole mess of rope. And you can tap specifically where you want to drive them forward. Move. Okay, so we're going to start at a walk. So I'm going to use the rein. I'm going to ask her to walk off. So I'm going to make sure this is a little bit forward so that you have that loose rein. on the opposite side that you're not working on, because I don't want her to feel any pressure unless I add it and ask for softness, okay? So this is going to help your drive. She tends to be slow. We're not going to whack her with it. We're going to encourage drive. Okay, this is also helpful because she sometimes wants to push in with her shoulder, so I can move that shoulder out of my space with a light tap. Okay, so we're driving forward, and I'm going to apply pressure with my hand back towards or up at the saddle, and when she drops her nose like that, we're going to release. Because she's lazy at the moment, I'm not going to harp on her for speeding up, okay? My feet are moving forward in this exercise, but not, if you notice, not in a big circle. And I'm applying pressure almost up towards the saddle horn. So if you were sitting up in the saddle, this is how you'd be asking her for softness. So again, what we're teaching this mare is to drive forward into pressure that then goes away once she calmly relaxes and drops her nose. So right there, I did get after her a little bit because she pushed into my space. She needs to be aware of where I am and where my feet are. A lot of horses have, you know, inadvertently been taught to be nervous with whips. I don't want her nervous. This whip is information. It shouldn't mean panic, okay? Right there, she pushed into my space, so I tapped her shoulder away. So there's a lot of little things going on, but what this is going to help her and help you with is how she respects your space. That's obviously been taught a lot with the groundwork you've been doing, but this is a different setting right there. Shoulder, I moved it, and now I'm going to continue to ask for forward. She knows where her feet are, okay? They know where they are in relation to you. So if she tries to push on me and I move backwards, even if she didn't mean it that way, then she wins. Okay, and now we're not talking about winning and losing, but I don't want her to think she has the upper hand because she does tend to be a dominant type horse. Pressure and then release once her head drops. Pressure, release. Now, I don't need her nose on the ground. That's not this exercise. I need it soft and responsive. So now I'm going to stop her. Good girl. She doesn't need long because I want her to associate the exercises on both sides. Okay, so I'm driving forward. I'm going to add pressure, release. Right? No. So the head does not need to go down to the ground, okay? We're applying pressure backwards, in a sense, towards that saddle horn, backwards and up. So if you can draw a line from my hand to that saddle horn, that's where it's going. Okay, and then add pressure. Down is not the answer. So right there, I didn't release. Down is pulling the reins out of my hands, okay? It's back, its nose backwards in a way and flexed like that. Then I reach my hand forward and give her that release. I'm gonna go ahead and ask for a trot. Good. Now she can't leave me like that. There. And I know those reins are right behind her ears, but as long as they're not coming off of her head, then we're okay. There. Good. Now not on the ground. This is not a nose on the ground exercise. Down, so right there she's pulling on my hand. Nope. There. It's down, it's back. There. I'm going to stop her. Your turn. So the most important things to remember are all the 500 things I'm about to tell you. Yeah, so your feet, okay, they're walking forward. Small, walking with her, okay, not backwards, okay. Right? If you sense that she's getting closer to you, it's probably not you, it's her, because she tends to want to push this left shoulder into your space more. At least she did for me. I'm sure she might for you. So if you feel her get immensely closer, reach that whip forward and tap her on the shoulder, okay? Okay. And then drive forward is important. I don't want her sleeping while we're doing this. She needs to be thinking and working. And then the only other thing, I'm sure I'll mention more, but the only other thing is I want your hand, when you pull it up, to draw a straight line from the saddle horn to your hand. Okay? When you're asking, when you're adding pressure, to ask for her nose to soften and respond to the pressure, I want that to be a straight line, and then once she gives it to you, that's a release. Okay? Yeah. And I'll help and talk you through it. Here, sit. Don't back your feet up. There, good job. Small circle. This isn't lunging. Smaller circle. Small, teeny. I'm going to draw a circle if you don't stop walking too far. Okay? Now point your belly button more at her. There. Keep that pressure. You're walking ahead of her. And release. There. That was a good release, but she stopped. We didn't want her to stop. Don't get in front of her. Pressure. Release. There. Good job. I know you're in the process of learning when to release, but I want you to think, reach your hand down towards her nose for release. Keep that pressure, drive her forward. Drive. Where do you drive from? Back here. Yep, so drive. Good. And you can cluck, kiss. Nice, that was a perfect one. You can cluck or kiss or say walk if you'd like, if she's slowing, and then use the tap on the hip. Good. Pressure, release. Nice, there we go. Okay, she's half asleep. So I know you're thinking about, keep that pressure, don't release until she drops her nose. Drive her into it. There, nice, so go ahead and stop her. So with this exercise, it's a tough one, don't get me wrong. I think this is a perfect step up the ladder to get you in the saddle knowing what to feel for. Yeah. But I know you're thinking so much about her head and what it's doing, you're not paying attention to how slow she's moving. Yeah. She knows this just enough for you to be able to get it, but just remember, I need her moving forward. Okay? You're doing good. Your release and your timing right now is really good. It's just get her moving into that bridle, squeeze her into it. Okay? That's where she's kind of good at taking advantage of you, is slowing down. Tap okay, there you go. Okay, now your whip is kind of almost under her. There you go. I want it up like you have it now. Yep, no, like you had it. Good. Like you had it, and when you need to ask for something, raise it up. Okay? So like right now, I need you to ask for drive. There. Good. Nice release. That was good. Faster, faster. There, that's a walk. Nice, that was a perfect one. So don't add any pressure to the rein, that was a good one, unless you're asking for softness. So pressure or none at all. Drive. Don't release that rein, don't release until she gives it. There. Good job. Now don't hold the whip up. It's her responsibility to stay in motion. See how when you lowered that, see what happened to her speed? I don't want to babysit my horse. That's too much work for me. Hold that pressure. Hold it. Don't let her pull the rein down. Release there. Go ahead and stop. Good. All of that was good. I like how you didn't release when her head went down. Now, you did move around a lot. I was just going to say, how we end up over here? So it was looking good, Kimberly, so I didn't want to correct that. However, you also moved around because what was happening is every now and then you'd pick up the rein and she'd move her hindquarters out and you'd drive her forward, and then that's where you end up over here instead of over there. So it's okay to move around as long as you're moving around, I guess you could say, after a correction or after she makes a mistake. You kind of have to go with her, right? But what I don't want is for you to be walking and moving around just yet. That is a progression of this exercise. Right now, I think I'd like for you to stay in one place unless that happens where she's moving her hindquarters away.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So go ahead, you're gonna ask for trot, and then you're gonna drive with the whip.
Trot.
Drive. Tap her on her hip, not her legs. There. Now slow your feet down because you're getting in front of her. That's why she slowed down right there. Drive.
Trot.
That was a nice release on your part when she dropped her nose, but then she slowed down. Nice. Do you see and feel what you're looking for so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now.
Now,
Now she's doing it and I'm not even pulling.
right there, you've been adding pressure for about 10 seconds on and off. She hasn't responded to any of that pressure. So, pressure or no pressure at all, okay? That's no pressure at all. That's good. Now, drive her forward because she's sleeping again. Not down. Perfect. Hold that. Drive. What's happening? Why isn't she giving you her face? Why?
She's not going forward.
Correct. Good answer. Drive her forward. She's sleeping. She's relaxing in a sense. She's putting her nose on the ground, but that's not what we're asking for. We're asking for relax. We're not asking for nose dragging on the ground. It's hard to focus on all of these new things at a time. So what I want the head, I want the softness, but she needs to go forward to get it. So I almost want that to be at the forefront of your mind, because then the rest should follow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So focus more on the drive and what your hand is doing, adding pressure when needed and release when needed. And I want to see if anything changes, because right now I see you focusing so much on like where your body's at,
Yeah.
plus her head, that the drive is missing, and then nothing else is coming with it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so drive first, in a sense, then let's see if everything else follows. Okay, because when you say trot, she should trot and keep trotting. She shouldn't slow down just because you asked for her nose to drop. Just trot. That's it. I don't care about what your hand does. Slow your feet down just a little. There you go. Trot. There. Now just keep trotting. Just keep trotting. Don't get dizzy. Okay, you have to mean it. She keeps breaking down, and you have to keep saying trot. I want to say it once and be done, and maybe a second time if I have to. One time, okay? So trot. If she breaks down, reinforce. If she breaks down again, we have to increase our pressure to make sure that she understands what we mean. Here in a second, when she trots at least a full circle or two, we will stop her. And stop. Nice. Good. Nice. Your feet look way better. You're not getting in front of her quite as much. That's like a walk, jog. I don't even know what that is. A little more. It doesn't have to be the fast trot that we worked on last time, but I want her to like move. Okay? It's faster. Let's get it a little faster than that. There. That. Good. Right there. Keep her there. Keep her there and ask for one soft nose. There. Really nice. That was perfect timing. Now ask. Nice. And stop. Good. You just look dizzy. That was way better. She was trotting, you asked for softness, and you got it. So let's end on one more time on the left. So that's going to the left, which is her harder side.
Okay.
So, yep. And I want you to do exactly what you just did on this side again. Just think of trot, okay? And then we'll get the softness.
Trot.
Good. Trot. Just trot. Don't think about anything else. Okay, now that she's trotting, and keep her there, start to ask for a little bit of softness. Keep her trotting. Keep her trotting. There we go. There, that was really nice, Kimberly. Drive, drive. Keep that pressure. That was perfect. That was really good. Good. I like how you didn't release there because her head was down. It doesn't need to be on the ground in this exercise. That was really nice. So pressure, one more time. Keep her trotting. Good release. And stop while she's trotting. Much, much better. I think focusing on, like, let's just get her trotting. Everything else seems to follow when that happens. Once you got her trotting and you're only thinking about that, your feet ended up in the right place.
Yeah.
And you weren't asking for softness yet, but you didn't need to because she was staying arced. And then when you did, she kept trotting and you got it, and your release and timing was great. So it seemed as if everything else fell into place once you just focused on where she struggled. Because the work we did last time plus this time, and when I've ridden her, she understands what drop your nose means, or softness means, I should say. She understands that, so it's not that she doesn't get it, it's that the drive isn't happening. What we're working on the ground today is what I'm actually going to be working on with Lori in the saddle. So she's at the stage where she can do this under saddle. We're asking for softness on one rein at a time, changing directions, but you can see the progression of the bridle work on the ground to how it translates into the saddle. Some horses I do this with, I started out, they want to pull out. They want to throw their nose out of the circle, or they want to pull up or all the way down. They're more all over the place, and she's pretty much staying arced, and a lot of that comes from all the groundwork that you've done with her. Getting her soft on the line, responsive to pressure. So this is just the next step in that sense of, now we don't have the halter on doing this. You're still going to when you do groundwork, but now this is called bridle work. We're going to start incorporating the bridle into what you do to get her relaxed with the bridle instead of head up, nose tossing like she was. You did really well. Your timing is great. You know what to look for and when to release. So it's just getting her to follow through with the drive.
Yeah.
Okay? But good job.
Thank you.
That was really good.